Okay, so if you're in Colmar, France, and you're visiting the Christmas markets and you want to see what's around you, we're taking a tour with Viator. And it's going to be an all-day tour, and they're going to take us outside of the city of Colmar and visit the little towns around here for wine tasting and to visit their Christmas markets. So if that's something that you're interested in, keep watching. Now, this tour would also be great to take during the non-Christmas season. So if you come in during the spring, summer, or fall, check out the link at Viator and see what they have to offer. The van picked us up right on time, right in front of our hotel. It was just the four of us and one other person who was traveling solo. On our way to the first stop, we traveled through the French countryside, and I was blown away by the number of vineyards. Okay, so our first stop was the city of Ribeauville, and we're going to have lunch here, but before lunch we're going to take a little walk and check out the town. This town dates back to the Middle Ages. It had a defensive wall as well as defensive towers, one of which you can see in front of you. And the homes had an interesting way of being constructed. So many of the houses here are timber frame houses where they just inserted the beams into each other. There's no hardware, and everything just kind of fits in like a puzzle to make the house. So our driver is basically giving us a walking tour of the city and telling us all about the history. It's very interesting. What I didn't know is this area is very near a fault line. The fault runs along the Rhine River, and they had a huge earthquake back in 1500s that destroyed Basel, and they're sort of overdue for an earthquake in this area. So in this town they make the biggest loaves of bread in the world. Take a look. So this is spring water that you can actually drink if you want. Now, part of the defense of this town was that they built 3 castles around it. Let me explain. And did you know there are over 400 castles in the Alsace Region of France? And I'll show you one that's overlooking this town. It's pretty cool. One of those castles can be seen on top of that hill overlooking the town. As we walked the town, Christian, our tour guide, filled us in on a lot of interesting history. So back in the day before cars, when everybody got around it with carts and horses, these were put on the corners of the building as a bumper so that they wouldn't damage the building. And over the door frames of the homes, they had the initials of who lived there, but also in the center it showed what their occupation was. Can you guess what this person did? That's right, they were a baker. After visiting a medieval church, we headed back to the van.
Off to the next stop.
Okay, so the next stop is just a few miles from where we just were, in a town called Riquewihr. We're going to walk around and check out their Christmas market. So this is another picturesque town in France with a beautiful Christmas market. And the good news was that the Christmas market was open and it was not very crowded. This is very common at every market we've been at, even in Strasbourg and Colmar, as they sell chestnuts roasted on an open fire. As we walked the town and enjoyed the market, Christian, our tour guide, filled us in on all the interesting information about the town. And of course, we had to enjoy their hot Christmas drinks.
Merhaba Amerika.
Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad.
Joyeux Noel.
This is a very lovely town.
I think it's one of the best looking small little French towns that we've seen so far.
Dear, you want a drink?
Again, it was a lovely town. And if you're in Colmar in the non-Christmas season, I would definitely try to find a tour that visits these surrounding towns. It's definitely worth it. And we've always had good success with Viator, so check out their page on Colmar. Well, after about an hour, it was back in the van, heading to the next town. So next stop is the beautiful medieval town of Eisenberg. If I said it right, I'll put the name below. There's another Christmas market here we're going to walk and take a look at. And guess who was born here? So behind me, that's the birthplace of Albert Schweitzer. We took our time and walked the streets of this beautiful French town. And just like before, our tour guide Christian filled us in on all the interesting history of the town. As we walked the street, night began to fall, and soon it was time to move on to our next stop. But before we left the town, we visited another medieval church. Okay, so next stop is another small little French town here in the Alsace region of France, and we're doing a wine tasting in the cellar.
Oh, I love wine. Looking forward to tasting some.
Yes.
So this tasting was included with the tour, and it was held at a family-owned French winery. We probably had at least 5 or 6 tastings, and everything was delicious. And if you didn't know, white wine is the specialty wine of the area.
To our favorite cameraman.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay, great experience at the wine tasting at the vineyard. Now we're at the last town, Eguisheim, to check it out. What you see in front of you used to be a pigeon coop, and this site was the inspiration for Beauty and the Beast. It was getting late, and most of us were cold and tired, so we took a quick walk through the Christmas market, and we found something to warm us up. Okay, so we're finishing the night with some hot soup to warm us up.
Delicious.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to cauliflower soup.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was an all-day event and very good. So it's not just so much looking at the Christmas markets. There's a lot of history that Christian gives you. So I'll put a link below through Viator, but also put information to contact Christian directly if you want to go for a tour around the Alsace region, if you're coming to Colmar. And you'll learn all about the history. It's very interesting. He's lived here for many, many years, and he knows the history. So I'd say it's a Christmas tour and a history tour and a wine tasting. So a good time spent, and everybody enjoyed it. All right, and one person that we met on the tour has something to say.
Until next time, safe travels.
Ho, 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 ho.